So my research is looking at shale gas systems and shale gas reservoirs and trying to better understand why gas is in the places that it is and how we can better understand the reservoir system. Hopefully by better understanding porosity and permeability, so how gas is flowing through the rock, how gas is stored within the rock, why the gas is stored in certain places, the conditions required to have large bodies of methane in this rock. By better understanding that, we can then have some information to find out how to better extract it. So basically our knowledge of shales isn't good enough at the moment to understand how and where to drill, how to extract. The pioneers of this kind of industry are basically the US, and they've been looking at trying to extract gas from shales for about 30 to 40 years now. So there's a very, very big time period where they've been doing a lot of experimenting, a lot of trial and error, and ultimately in this kind of business, it is a lot of trial and error that you have to do, and a lot of money that you have to spend, and there just hasn't been that much interest in the UK. So the interest has been generated in the US, and they've got a lot of success out of it. So not necessarily, because this research is primarily done by industry. They keep the knowledge that they gain. They keep it pretty well, hidden and secretive, shall we say? So that wealth of information is still with those companies. So the only way to get around that is either to entice US companies to come to the UK, or get some guys on the ground and actually start trying to get some operations going and learn through that way. So in my opinion, I think extraction processes are basically made unsafe because of how the the oil companies go around managing the water that they use, because shale gas extraction and fracturing use vast amounts of water. So the majority of cases where there's been contamination or pollution concerns has primarily been how they deal with the wastewater, as opposed to actual leaking or leaching in the subsurface. So I think that's more of a practical thing that companies need to address themselves. I don't think that's a concern of kind of science or academia. The problem with offshore is that shale gas wells are onshore. They are expensive enough as is. It can cost 8 million, 10 million to drill a well, because you go down, you drill down, and then you drill horizontally, and then there's several things you need to do. You need to have special casings, you need to have perforating guns, then you need to fracture sections. So it's an extremely complicated and extremely expensive process to do onshore. When you go offshore, it just becomes more expensive, basically. So from a company or an industrial perspective, the risk factor just increases in terms of cost-benefit analysis and in that kind of thing. So I think we should perfect the technique onshore and then look offshore. The thing with my research is it doesn't really have any direct ties towards industry. Its main purpose is not to make fracking better. It's just from a pure science and academic perspective, just to better understand shales and shale gas reservoirs and shale systems. And then that will obviously have a tremendous use, and it will feed into industry. But luckily I don't have any ties towards industry, so whatever I find, I'll just present the information as it is.